Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get this meeting started this evening at 6:04. If I can ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. You may be seated. Okay, next item. Do we have any changes to the agenda, Council?
We do. Sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we remove item number 6.4 from the agenda in order to save the city council future embarrassment.
And then the change that I have is 5.8. We just need to move to the second meeting.
All right, I'll second 6.4. This is unprecedented.
So you'll need you have a motion and a second, so you'll need a roll call vote to accept those changes to the agenda or not. Yeah, so it would remove 6.4
Okay, so we-
and 5.8.
Okay, we'll go to, we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
On item 5.4 and 6.4.
5.8, sorry.
Or, sorry, 5.8. Yeah, 5.8. We have a roll call, please?
Councilman Atkinson?
Sorry, it was Nathan first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilman Vosberg?
Yes.
Councilman Atkinson?
Aye.
Councilman Hedgecock?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez? Aye. Mayor Horn?
Nay. Okay, next we're going to move on to awards, presentations, appointments, and proclamations. First item is Criscom Company quarterly report. Chuck, please.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Chuck Jaloyan from the Criscom Company. Very happy to be here tonight. I want to introduce Emily Engelsgard and Carol Sarian, my staff. I'm sure you know them, and you'll be seeing a lot more of them. Couple things. It'll be a quick report. I'm happy to answer questions at the end. We celebrated our 25th anniversary last year at Criscom, so 2022 is a good year for us. We have a good team, and we're very grateful at the partnership that we have with Coalinga. A little update on the legislative side I should talk about. We've been up in Sacramento a couple of times already. It's off and running. for those in the audience that may not know, it's a 2-year session, so it goes this year and it goes right into next year. There's going to be a couple of changes with the Assembly Speaker. Mr. Rendon has it right now, and Mr. Rivas will probably come in June. They made a deal to change leadership. And then Senator Atkins is still running the state Senate. So it's very important to know that, because when we're up there advocating for the city, we have to be in front of leadership. That's really important. Our local assembly member and our senators, they need help with leadership sometimes. The Budget Committee, Mr. Ting is on there. So it's a little bit of musical chairs, but the leadership has not changed in quite a while. We have a couple of things to talk about, and one is, I know the Office of Finance has been very slow at cutting checks, and that is really unfortunate because we're waiting for one. But we talked to them about 2 weeks ago, and they said that they're about 4 or 5 weeks away. No city has received any of their monies yet that were promised to them in the last budget. So we're on top of that, and I'm happy again to answer any questions about that. Right now, the big points up in Sacramento are housing, it's public safety, it's water, and that seems to coincide with what both of our representatives are talking about right now. Also, we are advocate back in Washington, D.C., and Congressmember Duarte, they're talking about an awful lot of things over there, and we're going to make sure that Kevin McCarthy knows who we are, where we are, what we do, and also the leadership on the Senate side. That's going to be very important for infrastructure projects and other things that we may want to do. We got to meet with Marissa earlier. We have a very good relationship with staff, and she's got a whole bunch of stuff that is going to be coming our way, and so we're very happy to assist you in prioritizing it and helping and seeing what we can get through. We want to make sure that our projects kind of coincide with what's going on in Sacramento. There will be a budget deficit this year. Last year we had that 50, 60, 90 billion, whatever number that we've heard, surplus. And this year we're talking about maybe a $25 billion deficit. There still will be projects out there. There will still be funding for certain projects. So we just have to make sure we hit the right target. On the economic development side that we do, we also assist the city with economic development. It's been kind of an exciting time, a very interesting time. We have about 180 vendors that we've been talking to out there. We were at ICSC last year with staff. I think this year you may not be going. I'm not sure about that. I want to talk with Marissa, but we'll be happy to represent our council over there and work really hard to bring some business over here that I think would be very exciting. We talked to Dave & Buster's. They were very excited about coming here one day, not quite yet, and there's a lot of other Jersey Mikes and a lot of those, and again, we can talk about that too. One of the interesting things that's going on, a lot of these developers right now are looking for pre-existing buildings. They want to open a restaurant, but they need a place that already has the kitchen. They want to fix things up. With inflation the way it is, money is hard to get. Interest rates are up a little bit. So there's a couple of local businesses in another town or two that we've been asked to talk to, and we've reached out to them, and a couple of them have expressed an interest in coming to our town, which is very exciting. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, so again, they're looking for the right square footage, the right place to be, and things like that. So that's something else that I think will be hopefully forthcoming fairly soon. We have a lot of big developers that we're still talking to. We're talking to Kaz, we're talking to Chris Pito. We've been talking to Lance Cashion, and that's just what we need to do. We all know, and I had lunch with the mayor not that long ago, and we were talking about development projects, and whatever we get to start today or tomorrow is going to take a year or two to really come to fruition. I think the council might be asked to do certain things like, can we expedite this? Can we, depending on who's coming? We're looking at our parks. We're looking at a lot of other things that staff has us looking into right now. So with that, we just want to let you know that we're here. We can talk to you every day. I think you all have my cell phone number. We have a team that wants to be very successful for you. I told Marissa if she doesn't get that check in another couple of weeks, we'll go banging on doors in Sacramento. But, again, this year, I think if we identify 3 or 4 projects and 1 or 2 federal projects, we should try to pursue those. And on the economic development side, we need to keep pushing and getting people to come over here and look at what we have to offer. So with that, I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Council have any questions?
Have we identified projects for the next upcoming year that we want to go for as far as getting funding from our state or federal legislatures?
We are going to, we've talked with staff about what's available up in Sacramento, and so what we're trying to do right now, Councilman, is put those ideas down on paper. We're going to be up there in a couple of weeks presenting our wish list, which is going to be very important. And the new members up there and our new representatives, we all have to make sure that we got on board very quickly and prioritize those. So we'll be coming back with you on that.
Do we have a copy of that wish list?
Pardon?
Do we have a copy of that wish list?
what-
I guess what I'm getting at is like water infrastructure. Our water infrastructure is about 50 years old. It's aging. We're
Right.
taking out bonds to pay for it. I'd really love to see the state give us some money for that, just my personal opinion. Our wastewater treatment plant is in need of repair. We're putting in solar everywhere. I'd just love to see what is on the wish list.
Absolutely. We'll work with staff to provide that to you.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
Are there any plans to use any like matching grants or anything like that to kind of entice businesses? I know a while back I talked to the mayor of Parlier, and he said that they were using CDBG money in order to build out infrastructure for businesses that wanted to come. Is there any relations or any kind of nexuses that could be used with that type of money in order to bring people here, such as like building out like our airport around the surrounding areas and things like that?
Excellent question. We do not, just for the record, we do not do your grant writing. We are grant writers, and we do that for some cities. So we're very familiar with grants and how they work. We would be more than happy to complement your staff, whoever's writing grants, to see if we bring in 50%, with the federal government match it, we'd be very happy to get involved with that. I don't think we've been involved with that to date.
Well, the reason I ask is because sometimes businesses are short on cash, and if there's something out there that's a grant that can fit them, and so if that's 2 separate paths where we have our grant writers here and the people out looking for businesses here and they never cross, then I think they need to somewhat time intersect so that maybe we can get that information out and find out, and working with city staff, because they probably already have plans on some of that stuff that they're using money for. But if there is any grants or anything that we could intersect into there, I'd like to see that happen, because I know that the possibilities of bringing in places that need infrastructure that's not there, like you say, hey, they're looking for places that are pre-built, right? And of course, we don't have a ton of those. So then it falls onto infrastructure. Well, how can we build that infrastructure to allow those companies to come in? And I think a project like that would be, worthwhile looking into.
Yeah, no, Councilman, good point. And we're very happy, again, to work with staff to help them identify, to do whatever. We could also pass along information when things come by our desk to see what, there might be some low-hanging fruit for some projects, animal shelters and other things like that. And then, of course, the infrastructure dollars are ginormous. And the way it works in Congress right now, it doesn't look like Republicans are going to change kind of the way it operates. We all have heard about earmarks, right? That boogeyman, that's a scary word. But really what it is, it's a request for funding. It's a grant. And, we have to make our case to try to get those monies. And the way it's been working in D.C. the last few years is all the members get to put in 7 or 8, 9 projects that are priority projects. And that's very key. So if there's matching money out there for something, and we can, they always look for skin in the game. The federal government wants to know that you've put $1 million into your $4 million project. They kind of require that. And federal dollars work a lot differently than state dollars. State dollars, you can get it, you can put it in the bank, you can get interest on it, and you have to use it for that project. The federal government doesn't work quite that way, and they audit you more. They have to. So there's a lot of moving parts to that. So it really depends on what you're looking for. I don't know exactly what you're looking to do right now, but we'd be
Just
happy to
keeping
talk
the
about
eyes open.
it. Okay, absolutely.
Thank you.
Promise we'll do that.
We recently lost our assemblyman Joaquin Arambula, plays the Lord. Our new assemblywoman is Esmeralda Soria, Have you had a working relationship with her, and is there a way you can set up a meeting?
Yes, and we've already been there. We told her we're representing you, her office, her chief of staff, probably a week or two ago up in Sacramento. So what we're doing, Councilman, is we're laying out our groundwork, and we're saying the door's going to get kicked open pretty soon for requests. So absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And Senator Caballero's still around?
Yes. She,
Send this guy, because she loves him.
okay, good. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem has now been nominated to help us out on that one. Good. Can I make a motion from the, I don't know. What do you guys want? I'll move for the police and fire too.
Now, I had a question. I know like Madera had their community hospital shut down. I would like to see a talk about, I know our hospital is always on the ups and downs. It's a very critical business for us because not only it saves lives, but it makes it easier for our EMS to be local. And not only that, it kind of down stresses other big hospitals like Hanford and other communities. Plus, we have a major interstate that passes by, and I would like to see a talk of, trying to work with them to fund them to see what they need, as much as keeping that word when businesses are going to come, and like Councilman was suggesting, have a middleman where we could go through with it without somebody having the big arm there, where we could actually function with that. But a lot of it with the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because like he mentioned, I had an idea about the hospital. I know Bakersfield uses their actual airport to fly doctors back and forth from LA to Bakersfield so they could accommodate their hospitals in Bakersfield. And I would like to have our airport kind of do that.
Kind of utilize that way.
Utilize it.
Well, again, we're happy to present that, absolutely. So this is why it's good to have these brainstorming sessions about, and you're the policymakers, you guys have to prioritize, what we can do. And again, it's important to remember it's a 2-year session. The May revise is coming up very quickly. It comes up in just a few more months, right? And that'll be the first round of funding. Then the next one goes into next year. So sometimes you can do a project and get some partial funding the first year, the rest of it later. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 or 4 years. And so we have to be really smart, because if we're looking to do this and we only get part of that money, one of the little towns up here got $1 million for the police department. It wasn't enough. They didn't know what to do with it, right? So, we'll talk to city manager about that. Absolutely. Anything else?
You guys good? Councilman Hitchcock, you have anything?
Yeah, I didn't hear the first part of the meeting correctly. My audio is not working right.
This part of it, or from the beginning after the Pledge of Allegiance?
From the beginning after the pledge, all I heard was about the animal control on the original vote.
Okay. It was approved. It went past 4-1 for
You didn't hear what the
pulling.
changes were.
Pulling one item was changed. Item 5.4.
5.8.
Was it 5?
5.8.
Oh, 5.8 and it'd be 5.8 and 6.4 were pulled, and then the agenda was approved.
All right, I missed out.
You happen to have business cards that each of us council members can get?
I can provide those to the city clerk. Absolutely. Okay.
That way, not all of us are going to have your number in your information, at least for the new council, so they at least have one too.
Absolutely. We'll provide that on our way over there. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members.
Okay, our next item is recognize police and fire department staff for water rescue. And this will be presented by Councilman Ramirez.
All right, you guys, bear with me. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for you guys coming along. I'm going to read out approximately the event that happened on January 9th when we have that big old storm with the wonderful rescue with EMS and PD and anybody was right there willing to help. Okay. On January 9, 2023, at approximately 11:45 a.m., Coalinga Fire Department and Coalinga Police Department were dispatched to a water rescue near the bridge of Elm and Phelps. Initial reports were a vehicle in the creek with an individual on top of the roof. Fire Chief Dupuis was first to arrive and located a vehicle in the creek with an adult male on top on the roof. The vehicle was partially submerged with the water continuing to rise. Chief Dupuis assumed incident commander and requested a full swift water rescue response. Units and CAL FIRE, Fresno County Fire, Fresno County Sheriff Office, and members of the American Ambulance Star Rescue Team were all dispatched along with the Coalinga resources, including off-duty members. Coalinga PD secured the area, assisted with the crowd control, and prevented further individuals from accessing the creek. During the incident, the water began to rise more and caused the vehicle to start moving and shift down the river. Rather than waiting for the Sheriff Department rescue team, a plan was developed to utilize the fire department ladder truck to attempt to rescue the victim. While getting the truck in position, the vehicle shifted even more and began to float further downstream. The vehicle began to rotate on its side, and the victim had to climb further on top of the vehicle. Eventually, the vehicle settled on the opposite side of the bridge, but became lodged further on out into the creek. The ladder truck was repositioned to the other side of Elm and extended out approximately 100 feet to the victim, who was successfully rescued without injuries to the victim or first responders. Fire and police personnel who responded to the call were as follow. But I'm gonna add something. This was an extraordinary and well-planned, emergency planned situation that at times they're not even prepared, but their rescue guides let them succeed on that. If one thing that I like about this is that when we sat here last year, that we were debating about getting an emergency truck in that way. You know, I know we had our yes and our no's, but we stated that we'd rather have something expensive like that than be sorry about it. And I'm glad we had this rescue vehicle. This is why we think about all this stuff, especially with our town growing. I'm glad that we had this brand-new ladder truck. 30 minutes later, Fresno Sheriff Rescue showed up. Imagine if we had to wait. I'm glad that our chief, you know, first responders PD took the initiative to overturn that and just did it themselves. So I'm gonna read out police department first. And they're individuals, so bear with me because there's a lot of certificates. As I call your name, can you come up? Certificate of Recognition Award, Coalinga Police Department. The City of Coalinga is proud to present this certificate of recognition to the Coalinga Police Department in recognition of excellence and emergency assistance provided during the Swiftwater rescue on January 9, 2023. As names follow. Corporal Henderson. Thank you so much. Yeah? Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah. I'm gonna come down and read it. Officer Urias. Officer Carillas. And Officer Cease. Now I will read the Coalinga Fire Department. Chief Dupree. Thank you so much, sir. Chief Dupree, here. Oh, one with your name on it. Firefighter paramedic Ong. Administrative Captain Milligan. Captain Long. Firefighter paramedic Baguette. No. Engineer Rodriguez. Captain Kreider. Division Chief Beasley. I think that was it, right? We have two absent, right? Two absent. Once again, I'd like to thank the Coalinga Police Department and the Coalinga Fire Department for doing an extraordinary job. Please give them a round of applause, please. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you all, first responders. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next item, citizens' comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on any item within the jurisdiction of council. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern, identify themselves, and use the microphone. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. In accordance with the state open meeting laws, no action will be taken by the city council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for follow-up and report.
Hello, my name is James Carr. I am a citizen of Coalinga. I've lived here for 10+ years. And I would like to talk about an issue that I think most of the people in Coalinga have dealt with. I have a driveway that has an approach that was poured by the city. I've gotten notices several times in the last 10 years about me parking my own vehicle in my driveway because it is not a paved surface. It is my driveway. That's where I park my vehicle. If I can't afford to pay the fine that you're offering me, then how can I afford to pay to have my driveway paved? I bought the house like that. I've been parking my truck like that for a long time. I'm a carpenter by trade. I have a lot of money worth of tools in my vehicle. I will not park it on the street. Also, I will not stop parking in my driveway, but I will not pave my driveway because I can't afford it. This has come up a lot. And I don't understand what states that I can't park in my own driveway that I own. The house is owned, not rented, owned. I have my vehicle parked in my driveway and I'm getting notices from the city telling me that I need to park my vehicle somewhere else. I'm not okay with that, and I will not pay your fines, and I will not pave my driveway because I can't afford it. I just want to let that be known. It is an issue that needs to be addressed. It's not okay. When I started living there, it had gravel. The gravel has washed away. It's been driven over. I don't understand why you're telling me I cannot park my vehicle in my damn driveway. I don't get it. I just want to bring this guy to your guys' attention that it's not something that's okay. Second issue on hand is real quick. I live on the 700 block of Valley. People dump shit in my alley all the time. Sorry for I did not mean to curse. But every time somebody dumps something in my alley, they're telling me that I'm responsible to take care of that. But if something goes wrong with my plumbing, I'm only responsible for it from the alley to my house. Why am I responsible for
I'm sorry,
stuff?
Mr. Carr, your time is up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
Hello, I'm Hilda Crawford, and I just have two concerns, and I know they're not, can't be resolved because they're not agenda items, but my first concern is the overpass on Jane Avenue. I know that 198, the overpass has stoplights, and I'm just concerned for the safety of people that have passed or been killed on that overpass on Jane. Recently, the girls' volleyball team was involved in an accident right there. I know of people that have been in accidents. One of my coworkers, well, two, as a matter of fact, and one was Councilman Bosberg, one of my neighbors. So I was wondering who is the person that could get the ball rolling and see about getting some stoplights there on that overpass, because I truly think that's needed. And that was that's one of my concerns. I just was wondering who's out of the councilman or who's the person in the city that has to start looking into that.
So they're not supposed to respond, but I'll email you on Monday.
Okay, thank you. And then the other one was, we're having a lot of development going on, houses, putting apartments coming up. And it's just a suggestion, but it's too bad that we cannot have assisted living facilities. We have lost so many of our friends of the library that had moved to be closer to their families. If we had an assisted living something or a facility, and I'm not talking about West Hills Apartments, and I'm not talking about the new ones on Polk, because those were supposed to be senior apartments, and they're letting anybody in. My mother used to live over at West Hills Apartments. There was a drug bust there, and these are supposed to be elderly people. I hear stories about Polk's, on the apartments on Polk, having the same situation. So I was thinking of something that could, a facility where it has apartments, and then if the person has to go into assistance, then that they can have like a little room like the rest home. And then if there are medical reasons, then they would have a facility for them, hospital care. But I was just curious if, since we're developing and building all these housings, that if maybe that would be a possibility somewhere, not next to the hospital, maybe in the land there. So, but thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening. Gina Lopez, 359 North 6th Street. My concern is, it's been going on for quite a while, and I've read other folks, their concern on Facebook, on the citizens page regarding dirty water. And we have a soaking tub at our house, and it's for a medical need for someone, that lives at that residence. And the water is green. It just looks like algae water. I mean, how can that be sanitary for someone to soak in that? I understand with the drought, they said that, that the reason a lot of that was happening because you couldn't flush the hydrants because of waste of water. There is a way to capture that water. I mean, you could utilize an empty water tanker with some high-pressure hoses with some high-pressure cam lock fittings on there to capture that water and take that water, utilize it for, for something that's needed, or put it back in the small aqueduct or whatever. But I don't understand why we're not doing something about that dirty water. That's just a concern that we have, and I know a lot of people are concerned about that. The other question I have is, I've been here all my life, all 64 years of it, and I remember going with my dad out to Fresno County Dump and presenting the city bill. And with that city bill, you were able to dump your trash. There was, Good Samaritans here in town that were going around picking up all the trash, and Mid-Valley was, kindly taking it. But it looks like they've run their course on that. Out by the cemetery, Phelps Avenue, which is county, I understand it's county, there's just mattresses, couches, tires. It's just getting really bad. And what my question is, we pay Mid-Valley on our city bill the monthly trash fee. Why can't we present our city bill and go there and take trash 2-3 times a month, something like that? You're already paying for it. And we did that with the county, and, it was a city bill, not a county bill. So that's just something I was wondering if staff could look into to see if there's something that, you could work out with Mid-Valley to help the citizens out. Those are my two concerns, but that water is a real big concern. It's really dirty. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
You ever-
Hi, at the risk of looking ignorant, I was wondering when you would like us to make any comments on the situation with Adam Atkinson being silenced by a vote. Do we say something now, or do we just sit back?
So technically, under public comment, the council doesn't respond, which is why everybody just looks at you with a blank look.
Okay, so
But
I'll just take
I will
3
tell you
minutes.
that item at the beginning of the agenda was pulled from the agenda. So you still are free to say something if you'd like
Okay.
to, but if you feel that you don't need to because it was removed from the agenda, then that's okay too.
Okay, well then I'd just like to say thank you guys for removing that from the agenda. I was outside with signs and then taking my daughter to Bible class, but I think anything that you guys do to advance Kalinga is great, and thank you for letting me waste your time.
Can you please state your name for the record? Thank you.
My name's Rebecca Howard. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jose Cardoza. I live at 247 South Hackman. So, obviously, the topic was removed. We all understand that. No questions, mainly comments. I just think it's very unprofessional for Councilman Atkinson to be posting things on Facebook about other people on council, especially the mayor. I myself have had altercations with councilmen on social media. When I commented on what he said, post was magically deleted. Again, I'm just a citizen. I'm not on council. I'm nobody important. I'm not on the PD. I'm not on the fire department. But I think I would say over half the people in this room would agree that Councilman Atkinson needs to be censored. That's fine. I'm not speaking for any of you.
Please, the one at the dais is able to speak. Everybody else, please wait
So-
until it's your turn. Thank you.
My last thing I will say, I don't have a problem with anybody else behind me. I don't have a problem with a personal vendetta against Councilman Atkinson. I just think it's highly unprofessional. And that's all I've got to say.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Sounds like you hear a pin drop in this place tonight. Good evening. So you did pull item 6.4. I think that's a little odd. I think folks probably deserved a chance to talk on either side of that issue. But my issue tonight, or my statement tonight, is actually better under public comments anyways. So my name is Rocco Papietro, Keck Lane, District 1. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here to address the council about the residency guidelines for the council member districts. At this point, it does not matter if you agree with the city being divided into districts or not. What's done is done. Right now, it's what we have, and it's what we must abide by. I'm not here to disagree with Mr. Atkinson. His work as a councilman, he has put in good effort and worked for the staff results, and his results have been impressive. My concern is he has not followed the rules of residency or has possibly bent them to continue to represent District 1. The issue is not just the act of failing to submit proper documentation timely, but actually the way that he represents where he lives, going all the way back to where Councilman Atkinson sold his home. This is possible precedence for the future. If a seat is open in another district, or a person running in another district might be easier to beat, could a future candidate may decide to rent a room in that district and run for that district where they do not live in? Could somebody even live in another town, rent a room here, and call that their primary residence? Maybe so if they can provide the proper paperwork. But I don't believe this is in the spirit of why the city of Killeen developed and adopted the districting policy. I suggest that the city needs to review this policy regarding residency in the district that a council member represents. Although tonight, people may think this is a citywide issue, and it truly is a citywide issue. But tonight it is about District 1, the district that Councilman Atkinson represents, and the city, his main residence, and the district that his main residence is within. Please note that a principal residence is a primary location that a person inhabits. It is also referred to as a primary residence or main residence. So in closing, let me say, in the future, if a candidate is willing to blur the lines between being honest regarding where they lay their head at night, or where they be less honest about dealing with city issues, and would they be less honest about dealing with city issues and their constituents? So I would encourage you to look at the residency policy going forward, learn by it, and see what we need to do to adopt changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
Mary Jones, College Street, District 1. It's interesting that today is Groundhog Day, isn't it? Funny, come back to the same thing. I was looking back, I got caught up in some research and found that 2 years ago, almost at this very same time, there was other action taken against Councilman Atkinson. Again, it came to nothing because of other evidence and information that came to light. And I would just like to say that it seems like a little bit of a pattern is going on. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care very much about who did what when. You guys are a team. And as I was talking to somebody else tonight, it's like you've made it to the Super Bowl, and your team's mission is to succeed. And you can't say, I know that we're on the same football team, but I'm not going to use that linebacker because I saw him chewing tobacco and spitting in the back of a room where he shouldn't have. It's something you can overcome, work through it. We don't need to know about who turned what in when. Again, it's interesting what I found in my research. I'm not going to spread it around, but let's just say that there are lots of rocks out there to be turned over. There are a lot of rocks. And you'd be interested, maybe you could go do your own research. But with the transparency of information, you can look up forms and see who turned what in, when, and you can even see copies of the paper, and you can look at the information. And I gotta tell you, there's some good fairy tales. So if you're gonna start looking at things and making a big thing out of it, be ready, because what you do to someone else could come back and get you. So if you all work together, you're all smart people, including the one I can't see. You're good guys. There isn't 3 good guys and 2 bad guys. There's nothing like that. You're good guys. You're on one team. And you should be able to, as adults with a mission, focus on that mission, settle your differences, dust yourselves off, reaffirm that you're going to work together. And you're not going to let little stuff get in the way and stop you from what you need to do. Let's get water. Let's get safety. We can do this. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Excuse my attire, I wasn't planning on coming up here. My name's Angie Ramirez, no relation to Mr. Ramirez. I live in District 1, and but I do have 5 or 6 properties in Mr. Horn's district. I agree with Mary, you guys just need to get along and stop all these shenanigans, because I know that when I had issues with some property that we have in district, I don't even know what it is for, whatever James Horn is in, for? Well, whatever it is, over here, the houses that are in your district. I emailed you. I emailed you regarding a tree on one property. I emailed you regarding a notice that we received that the city's engineer and code enforcer had given us when it was actually part of a neighbor's property or easement. And I emailed you, and I didn't get anything. And when we had water issues on one of the properties, I emailed you, and I didn't get any response. And I know we had emailed Ron Ramsey, before when he was on the board. Anyways, everyone could complain about Adam being on Facebook or whatever. He's the only one that's ever answered. We put our complaints on Facebook because apparently that's the only way anything gets done or gets the attention of anybody. We had one with a neighbor parking their broken down car in front of another rental that's in District 1. And again, nothing until we throw it out on Facebook, or now that Adam is there. Adam wasn't there at the time with the broken down car. You know, we need people, we citizens need somebody that we can turn to, and it doesn't matter which district you're in. I've seen Manny Ramirez help out. I think people that weren't in his district at the trailer parks, I don't think they were in his district. I mean, the bitterness, the anger, the whatever needs to go. You guys need to get working, and you guys need to be able to we need to be able to communicate with you guys. Facebook or email, I'm gonna find a way to get a hold of you guys, but especially as mayor, you need to be on top of things, everybody, and not make us go through Facebook, because I hate putting people on blast on Facebook, but I'll do it if I have to do it. That's the only way we're gonna get things done. So I'm hoping that for a better year this year, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hilda Crawford, and I'm District 1. My concern is that I don't have a Facebook account. I just go and I troll it because my husband has one. And I see a lot of things on there, and I'm thinking, you know, some of the stuff is the dumbest stuff that people are asking. I work at the library. I research for people. They're asking things that are easy as cope. What's a phone book? Call the library, we can look for it. But no, just dumb, stupid things that are being asked. And as a citizen of Coalinga, everybody voted for whoever they wanted to vote for to become councilmen. You guys are adults. What you put on Facebook will come bite you in the ass. So you guys need to watch what you say and what you do. You think this is the same thing that's always told to a child. You watch what you say because there's things that are going to happen that could get you in trouble on that Facebook. You have to get along. First of all, you were elected by the people, not because they like you or they don't, or because they felt that you could do the job. By being little kids on the playground, you're showing that you're not stepping up, pull up your damn boots and say, okay, set your differences aside. We elected you. You're here not for yourselves, for your glory and fame. You're here for the citizens of Coalinga. You're here for the community. Because by doing this, nothing's going to get done. And it's a shame, and it's sad, and it's embarrassment. Look what happened to Lemoore when they were having all their differences and all their councilmen, and they were fighting. It was just crazy because you had one councilman that was fighting with another one, and it was just an embarrassment. I mean, I come to these board meetings because I have to come to this board meeting. It's part of my job. I'm their outreach person at the library. And I come, but I'm so glad that I missed whole January, so I'm kind of missed not coming to the meetings as much as I normally have. And to come and see a lot of people, it's great when they come in and they have, I've been at meetings when there's maybe 5 in the audience because there's no concern. But when there is something that's stirring and the witches are a-brewing, people are here in tenfold. So my concern is that you guys have to work together, because if you don't, we're not going to get anywhere. And whether you like somebody or not, at least be cordial. I might not like a coworker, I may not like a person that comes into the library, one of our patrons, but I'm cordial. So you guys
Well
really
done.
need to
I'm
start
sorry.
seeing that.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Hello, Laura Taylor, District 1. I just want to reiterate pretty much what everybody else is saying. Put your differences aside, get to work for this city. Stop trying to steal our votes and censure somebody. I don't know if any of these people are against Adam Mackinson and want him to be censured if they're in District 1 or not, but I am, and I will back up the person that came in here and spoke and left, that when it comes to needing stuff done, Adam is the guy that gets things done. He literally solicited people for input on repairs on potholes. Let us know if there's any in your area. I'll see what I can do. I sent him a message and pictures, and the next day they were filled. That's the kind of things that we expect from our city council. And if somebody keeps trying to censure Adam, when Adam is the one guy that we can count on to get stuff done, then what are we voting for? Please leave him alone. Let him do his job. Do your job. Put your differences aside. Grow up. Pull your big boy pants and leave him alone. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Charles Lovell. I also live in District 1. You know, again, like everybody else says, just get along. You know, the two I see on Facebook, and I don't say you have to be on Facebook. You can be, you can't, you don't have to be. I don't care. I see Nathan, I see Adam. They're always advocating for this town, asking, what do we need? Let's do this. Does this sound good? We want to have solar put on our house. We get the deal that through suggestion of the fire department and the housing authority, I don't know. They wanted a 5-foot setback. So half my panels were gonna go on the shady side of my house. Well, what do I want solar then for? I'm trying to do it to keep PG&E from fleecing my pockets. I called Adam, talked to him. He says, I'm going down to the fire department later. Let me check. Let me see if there's anything I can do for you. A couple hours later, he calls me. Hey, tell your people to go to City Hall, pull the permit. I've got that fixed for you. Because I drove around, there wasn't no 5-foot setback on anybody's roof. Some of them, I don't even know if there's 2 foot. Adam fixed it for me. Because if he couldn't have fixed it, I was going to call up the solar people and say, I'm done. What good is a solar panel going to do on the shady side of my house? Not very much. He didn't have to do nothing for me. He did. I appreciate that man. I appreciate Nathan. I appreciate all of you. But look, come on. Let's just all try to get along. You don't have to go out and drink beers with each other or whatever. You don't have to invite each other over for dinner. Let's just get along. This is a small town. We all need to work together. Every one of us in here, and even the ones that aren't here, we all have to work together if we want this little town to go anywhere. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you for your time.
Would anyone else like to speak? Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Public hearings, we have none, so we'll move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items you guys would like to discuss?
All right, I have a few items I want to pull. But first, I want to start off by saying that when I pull consent items off the consent calendar, it's for one of 3 reasons, all of which were allowed under state law and under the council code of conduct. I think there may be some confusion stemming from my words on wanting information on an item that I could have got ahead of time. I get all my information ahead of time. Anytime I'm asking something, it's because the public wants to know. It's because the public wants to see it. They want to see the answer. A lot of them don't read the agendas, and so I ask this information on behalf of the public, or if something came up later in the game, or if it's an item that I think should be a discussion item rather than a consent item. And so those are the reasons: transparency, a citizen asked me to pull it, or I have the item that I'd like to discuss. So the items that I'd like to see tonight are 5.3, 5.4, and 5.6.
Any other councilman like to pull an item?
3, 4, and 6.
Nathan, I think you meant to pull 5 instead of 4.
Oh, my bad. 3, 5, and 6.
Okay, I'll pull 4 then.
Uh, 511.
Any other items? Just the one?
That's it.
Okay, right now we've got 5 items. We'll go ahead and start with item number 5.4 first. Oh, sorry, 5.3. 5.3 first. Informational only, smart water meters, AMI update.
Thank you. Did you have a specific question, or did you want an overview?
One, I wanted to thank the mayor for putting this item on the agenda a while back. This is an item that I've been all over since I started running, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And I did, just for the people to hear where we're at on that item. I understand where we're at, but I want the people to know where we're at.
Larry, do you want to give a brief overview? This is his pet project.
Sure. Let's see. Okay, so I'm not going to read this verbatim, but this has been in the works since 2021. We first We first applied for like a citywide AMI implementation for like every house with the USBOR. They said no the first time. We reapplied after we had like an interview with them, and we're still waiting on that. We went for a more higher value one with the state through the drought resilience program, and that's going to be citywide plus it's every small meter. It's not the larger meters because it would have been a little too expensive, but we will get those done as well. Let's see. So we presently have 50 smart meters on the way. So if there's anyone interested out there who wants a smart meter at their house, just you know, call me. I believe my information's on here. But you can just you can reach me at lmiller@colinga.com or reach me at extension 131 and just let me know, and then we'll get someone out there to get a smart meter at your house. But I don't know for sure that they've shown up yet, but they should be here soon. So.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a quick question on that. Who's going to be fronting the money for the installation? Is that just part of the program, or is the individual homeowner paying for the installation?
That's why you pay your base rate. It's all through that, so you don't have to do anything. Right. Anything else?
I just want to make sure everybody was aware what the cost was actually going to be. So.
Zero cost.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to item 5.4. Adam?
Just a quick update for the public. There's been a lot of questions about it. We've had that building for quite some time. We've been waiting for the architect. If we can just kind of give us a rundown of where we're at right now and, if possible, what we expect or when we expect the building to be open.
Yes, so I received the architect's plans Tuesday, was it Tuesday of this week? And so those are finalized. They're gonna get started moving forward, and the timeline that I got from the city engineer says it should be open by, or they should be completing their work the last Friday of June. So we'd be ready to open that first Monday in June, or I'm sorry, the Monday after the last Friday of June.
Last Friday in June.
The last Monday. I think it's around like the 25th, June 25th.
When would the public be allowed to see the plans? Because I know a lot of people are interested in looking at those plans.
So I don't have the finalized version yet because I made some changes to the architect's plans that I received on Tuesday. But so as soon as I receive those, which should be sometime next week, we can post them on the city's Facebook page and the city website.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to the next item, 5.5. Councilman Buffer.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that animal control is a very, very important issue in this town, and I think I can speak on behalf of the council and say that the council understands that this is super important, and I know this has taken a long time, but I did put an item on here to have a full-time position, but start it with the new budget if the council so pleases. So this is, I guess it's informational at the moment, correct? Because it would have to be approved during the budget, is that correct?
Yes, so this item, if it wasn't on the agenda when I bring you the first draft of the budget, it would still have a part-time animal control officer. So now when I bring you the first draft, it's gonna include the full-time. You can always make changes to it, but you would have to adopt it with the budget.
I just want everyone to know that we hear you. We hear you. This isn't a thing I'm grandstanding on either. Every person on the council has been involved in this at one point in time or another. I just want to thank all the council members for, trying to get this issue solved.
Next item is 5.11. Councilman Hedcock.
5.6.
5.6? Oh, okay, 5.6. Nathan Vosberg.
Okay, and so I just wanted to, publicly say that I'm hoping that we can have a animal, public workshop to discuss animal control. And I'm hoping that there's a couple agenda items down below that may also help this as well. And so I just wanted to make people aware. What was the date and time?
It is proposed for 5 p.m. on Wednesday, February 15th.
That's it.
Okay, next item is going to be 5.11. Councilman Hedgecock.
Yeah, I want to see if we can change to maybe some different committees, maybe just fewer, and start with public safety, animal control, and water, and see how much public help we can get with those, and then move on to other ones if we can get people involved.
Would you be opposed to pulling this item and holding it off until our following meeting?
Sure.
That way we can
No problem.
discuss a couple changes possibly.
Yep, no problem.
Is that okay with council? Do we need a motion?
You can make the motion. If you're going to motion to approve, you could just add on the modification that you're
Okay.
table that to the right.
We'll go with 6.1.
Okay, so now I need a motion for the consent calendar with item number 11 changed and concurrent with item number 6.1 until the following meeting, just on those. So do I have a motion to accept the consent calendar?
Sorry, can I ask for clarification so we bring it back correctly? Are you asking for a motion with changing to just those 3 committees, or to bring it back to discuss at a council meeting of all the committees?
Bring it back to the next meeting so we can discuss all of them,
Okay.
and then possibly change or modify which ones in the meantime.
Thank you.
Okay, what would council like to do?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the modifications.
I'll second that.
We have a roll call, please.
Councilman Vosberg,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Atkinson,
Aye.
Councilman Hedgecock,
Aye.
Mayor Horn.
And I vote aye. Okay, next we have ordinance presentations, discussions, and potential actions, action items. It looks like we have 2 of them have been pulled, so we have 2 items left for discussion. So it'd be 6.2, discussion, direction, and potential action related to 2022-2023 water year and water conservation efforts, including revisiting the current water restrictions.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is kind of a reoccurring item requested by the council to just kind of provide an update on the current water situation and then allow the council an opportunity, if they'd like to revisit the current water restrictions at this time, they have the opportunity to do so. As of the last meeting, we really have not received any formal update from USBR. I imagine everyone is hearing different things and different sentiments throughout the state regarding the situation in the water, snowpack, and what we may see for this coming water year that starts March 1st. And so at this point, we do have some updated numbers for January. They did come in a little bit lower than anticipated. So that number that we talked about with the excess water by the end of the water year, I think it was at 47 acre feet. We were estimating perhaps at the end of the water year, with January's numbers coming in just over 5.1 acre foot per day. That number now is increasing a little bit in terms of having that carryover water, which is roughly about maybe 80 acre feet at this point, with about one more month to go. And we did talk with Patterson Irrigation District. We are in the process of talking to USBR about making sure our accounting shows the usage of the public health and safety water first, and then being able to basically reschedule the remaining purchased water into March. So we're able to maximize that water in the month of March, because we'll pretty much use that remaining amount in the first month of the water year, because you do pay rescheduling costs, plus you lose a percentage of the allocation monthly when you reschedule and store that water. So with that, that's kind of where we're at now. At the February 16th meeting, we'll be able to provide you a little bit more update. I'm not exactly sure when we'll get that letter from USBR. Sometimes it comes right at the end of February. Sometimes it comes right in after March. So we'll let the council know as soon as we find out what our allocation is going to be for this coming year. But we're cautiously optimistic about the coming year, so we'll continue to update the council. Any questions?
Council have any questions?
I guess I just want to make a comment. I'm sure a lot of us have been watching the water groups. I've tried to invite the whole world to the water groups so that everyone sees what's going on. The information that I heard yesterday from the DWR on their live stream is that they've upped the 5% allocation to 30, and that's in general. That's not exactly how that works out for cities, but that is not even taken into consideration the snowpack, and that was directly out of the director's mouth of what she said. However, they did still say that every day that it doesn't rain is another dry day in California. So they're trying to set the precedence that no matter what happens, as long as they continue to let out water for the fish, that we will continue to be in this boat. And so I just want to continue to tell people to contact your elected officials, tell them to please stop letting the water out. We need that water to drink. And I just want to thank Sean and city staff for staying all over this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? I think we're good. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. Item number 6.3, discussion, direction, potential action, directing staff to initiate a zoning text amendment establishing distance requirements for smoke shops from sensitive uses.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This was a future agenda item requested by Councilman Vosberg. At this point, staff doesn't have any recommendation at this time, but just request that council provide direction to staff in terms of whether or not they'd like to initiate any kind of text changes to the current plan and zoning code related to distance requirements for smoke shops. I did provide a little bit of background to the council and to the public in terms of what smoke shops are designated as and classified as in our zoning code. So there currently are no distance requirements. There are no special use permits for smoke shops. They really fall under typical retail establishments, which are permitted in pretty much any commercial zoning designation. So with that, I'd like to, leave it up to the council to have discussion, and staff's just seeking direction from the council on how you'd like to proceed.
I have a question on this item. What are you designating a sensitive area besides a school? Is it like the library included, or?
It would be schools.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up to the council what you want to consider sensitive uses. Residential can be sensitive uses in some contexts as parks, libraries, public facilities. So really, the council may want to make sure that you kind of provide us guidance in terms of what you want to designate as a sensitive use related to smoke shops.
As in right now, the smoke shops that are there, are they in compliance with the distance?
Well, there's no distance requirement currently in the code, so where the current smoke shops are operating in compliance with zoning regulations.
Okay.
So I guess, can I just get a little overview, Mayor? Okay, so this would not affect anyone that's currently in business as a smoke shop. That's not the intention. This is not an attack against smoke shops. A lot of times they do cuddle themselves up next to residential areas, and they do sell other things other than smoking items, and those residents use those places as kind of their corner stores to be able to get stuff. I'm not against that. What I am thinking, though, is that I've heard complaints from the residents, not residents, actually, some people that run and operate schools that are saying, wow, it's interesting how you guys have a distance requirement for cannabis, but you don't have a distance requirement for smoke shops that sell a lot of cannabis stuff in there, even if it's not cannabis. And they also sell, primarily tobacco stuff, and that's access close to kids. And so my goal with this is protecting the kids, just keeping distance requirements, making distance requirements that, and how this came about, I was listening to the Planning Commission meeting that was talking about the potential hotel going in, and I heard all the people having the issues with, hey, a potential hotel, and it just thought to my mind, I was like, hey, I've heard complaints about smoke shops, and so this item's just for discussion. I just brought it up to see if the council's interested in it. Seems like something we could do to help protect the schools.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with it. We don't actually have a ordinance for this, so that would actually give us an ordinance to work with in the future. Any questions, Councilman Hitchcock?
No, there definitely needs to be a rule to keep it away from the schools.
Do we have a distance that we're looking at? I actually tried this a couple years ago and it failed, so I'm glad to see that the new council
I believe
has-
from what I read, it was 300 feet just to start.
Is that what it is, 300 feet just to start?
We can
Whatever
set
you
the
guys want.
distance roughly whatever we want, if we want to do it the same as the cannabis, or keep it at a minimum, as long as it's away from
Well,
schools
300
and
feet.
childcare, because if we do it roughly about the cannabis, it might end up affecting some of the child daycare places as well within that distance. 300 feet would be roughly to the library from our closest one here.
If the company, if there's a tobacco company already there, and there's a school that's gonna fall within that, whatever zone we decide to go with, whatever foot distance requirement we're gonna give them, that tobacco company,
They wouldn't have
it's
to
not gonna have to
close.
move, right? They'll just be grandfathered in or whatever, but no one else can come in after them.
Yeah.
Okay. So all the tobacco companies that are there now are safe.
Yeah, and one of the things we'll have to do is probably do some research on defining smoke shops based on whether it's certain products they sell, to define them different, because we do have in their code smoking establishments, which is kind of like the hookah lounge, where you can actually consume on site. We'll have to make sure, because right now smoke shops basically fall under general retail sales. So we have to identify certain products that would designate them as a smoke shop compared to a liquor store, if they're being differentiated. So we'll have to go through that and handle the differentiation of the definition, and then also establish a distance requirement from the school.
And maybe we could look at the current schools that we have and current properties that are even available in that area as kind of a guidance, just to say, hey, this property would be available here, and maybe the residents in that area wouldn't be happy with that because it's right so close to a school.
And what, this process, because it is the land, in the planning and zoning code, it has to go through the zoning text amendment, so it goes through a recommendation process from the council, I mean, from the planning commission, and then back to the city council. So if you'd like to task staff and the commission with developing up some regulations, we can bring those back to the council and kind of get some concurrence. It allowed some more technical analysis of, you know, looking at properties around the schools and what potential there is even for smoke shops to locate within a certain distance.
Do you guys like to move through with it and have a possible resolution written up? See what we can get done?
Come back.
Well, it would be an ordinance.
Just to
We
bring
would
it
just
back,
bring an
right?
ordinance back to the council with those regulations. If you'd like to see the breakdown, kind of like what we did with food trucks, where we kind of gave you the breakdown of what that framework was going to look like before we actually went through the ordinance, the public noticing process, we can do that as well. It just takes a little bit longer to get that in place. And if we happen to get applications or if there's a concern, the council can always initiate some type of, I mean, I guess you could initiate a moratorium restricting a certain distance right now with as an interim until an ordinance is passed.
Just my personal opinion, this wasn't anything that needed a rush. I was just listening to that meeting, and it kind of got me thinking about other things that could come into areas like that, and the smoke shop kind of, not any one in particular, but just the idea came to mind.
Okay.
Any other questions? Would you, yeah, come up.
I have a question. When the cannabis, both cannabises, cookies, and then the one that used, whatever corner, the cannabis on the corner, High Time, thank you, and then the smoke shop came in. When they were approved, did you guys ever consider that those kids, those high school kids, students walk through our empty lot in between, behind the library, in between the library and the bank? They go around on Durian Street. So why is the purpose now when you should have, when that should have been thought of before they came in and were allowed to go in there? Because most kids think that cookies is where you can go buy cookies. And you go by there, and I've had to go, because we're having an event on Durian Street, I've had to ask them to remove their vehicles, and all I do is walk up, and holy moly, you can get high just by walking up. And then on the cannabis, on the corner of where Old Maid Drug used to be, they also, you know, they'll have somebody there questioning you, I guess, asking you for a card or whatever. I mean, the only reason I go to the establishments is just to give them information that's happening for the library. But in the smoke shop, you know, that's been there a while, so I don't I understand Nathan's concern because it's the schools, but it's already happened. I mean, you guys they were allowed to be there now, so I mean, I could understand the future concerns, but that should have been thought of before they were allowed to come in. And Cookies hasn't been there more than, what, 2 years, 3 years? So I'm just kind of like, hello, I mean, they were there, now you're wanting to do something different. I'll talk to you tomorrow about that. But anyway. Oh, thank you, by the way, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, next, we're going to move on to announcements, city manager's announcements.
I do have a few. So Tuesday, February 7th at 9 a.m. is the monthly Chiefs Breakfast at Cafe 101. February 8th, we have a meeting with Fresno County regarding the status of the Kmart property. So hopefully we'll have an update soon. I know that's been a hot topic on Facebook, so it's not a project that is no longer moving forward. We just don't have an update to give you until after that meeting, hopefully. February 14th is the start of the World Ag Expo, and the city will be represented there trying to attract industrial employers to locate to Coalinga. February 15th at 5 p.m. is the animal control workshop here. February 16th at 4 p.m. will be a water workshop here. The next city council meeting is February 16th at 6 p.m. And then keep an eye out on Facebook. Our police department and our fire department are going to be coordinating a fundraiser to help the family of the Selma police officer, Officer Carrasco, that was killed. So if you see them out with boots collecting money, or you see something on their Facebook page, that's what they will be fundraising for.
Council have any announcements?
I do. I want to announce this whole residency thing that keeps being brought up again and again and again and again and again. Not one of these people who say that I don't live where I live has come up and talked to me. Not one. Not one has come up and asked me things. But they will put it out there that I did this. They will put it out there that I'm doing this. They will put it out there that I'm living here. They will put it out there that I'm living there without even saying one thing to me. The things that I have to go through with these people, that these amateur investigators who are trying to follow me around. You're trying to follow around an investigator. I have 15 years of investigative experience, and you're using amateur investigators to try and follow me. You think I don't know this? I have cameras everywhere. I have pictures of people coming to my house, watching me. They take pictures of my kids. My kids. They follow them around. They follow my wife around. They follow me around. They prevent me from getting out of the damn driveway so they can get a good picture of me. Y'all are adults following my kids around. It's ridiculous. Here's a car that follows me. You guys aren't that good. You're really not. Now I find a GPS on my car. A GPS on my car. This is what's going on because people are obsessed about where I live. Not one of you has come to me and asked me, where do you live, Adam? Why are you there sometimes? Not one. But y'all want to get up here, y'all want to post on Facebook about where I live, where I don't live, what I'm doing here, what I'm doing there. I have kids who live at that house. Am I not allowed to go visit my kids? Am I not allowed to cook dinner for my kids? Can I not go to Robin's house sometimes? Is there a reason why they got to come take pictures of Robin too? It's ridiculous, and it's getting old. And I'm telling you right now, I'm getting legal counsel because I'm getting sick of the harassment. If you all want to know something, I'm one of the most open people up here. There's not one person up here who's had a problem ever contacting me and me not getting back to them within a certain amount of time, very quickly. Everybody out here will say that. But instead, we get these amateur investigators who park right up against the fence, picture and take videos of me barbecuing for my kids, and think they got this aha moment. Then I get in my car, they block it out so I can't leave, so they can get their pictures. At what point does this end? The DA's already come over here. The DA's already investigated. If you want them to start a new investigation, have at it, because I guarantee you I got an answer for everything. At some point this is going to end, and I'm going to start holding people responsible for it. Legally, just wait and see, because this is ridiculous and illegal. Thank you.
Any other announcements?
I just want to announce that the chamber's going to have a dinner on the 4th. I know. Following that, just trying to lighten up the subject, maybe lighten up the room a little bit. But I'd like to see everyone that got tickets to go. It's going to be a good time, and spend some money because the chamber is trying to help the community. They really are, and so it'd be nice to see people there. Thank you.
Yes, real quick, please.
Mary Jones, since we have all these people here, so many, if a lot of people want to know when they can talk and ask questions, the Chief's breakfast is next Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. Anybody can come. Anything can be said. Anything can be talked about. If you have a question about whatever, bring it. I'm really not talking to you, I'm talking to everyone else that's listening. If you have a question about something, Marissa's usually there. There's always a representative from the fire department and the police, and sometimes council people show up too. So,
And sometimes the CHP commander and the
Yes.
warden of Pleasant Valley
yes,
State Prison.
the warden was there last month.
I just want to, for the past couple of years, we've had a strong council, and I agree for what everybody says and all your guys' concerns. When I got into council, I didn't get here to get harassed, and I could feel them because I'm very lovable in this community. And the first couple of months, I was getting blasted on Facebook, and you know what? I built a good relationship with all these individuals everywhere in all the community. And everybody in the community, they all know me. They all know me that I'm here for the youth. I'm here for everybody. And, I have no problem with nobody. And like I always said, I'm always going to fight for this community. I know the guys, everybody here is going to fight for the community. We have a good chief. We got another, good staff sergeant, chief, police, everybody. We're getting somewhere finally. And I think we as adults, a lot of people have that, that great idea. We got to be adults. We see it everywhere in some other councils that they fall apart. And I myself don't want to see our council fall apart. We need to be as strong as we can. Right now, we're talking to assembly people. We're talking to, Congressmen that we're finally getting through. We're getting things done. And, we do need your guys' support. If there's something in my district and they go to Adam or they go to Mr. Vosper or go to Horn, hey, go for it, because that's where we're there. We're not just for one district. We're not there for two districts. We're all a team. These guys in the office, our lawyers, they all do a great job. They all do a great job. And like I said, any questions you guys have, you guys always come to me. My number is open, and I'll try to answer as best as I can. If I'm not, I'm gonna come to my colleagues, because that's what I'm here for. I might not have all the answers, but my colleagues might have. And that's always gonna be my thing. But my first thing is always gonna be the public safety, anything that could be done. That's gonna be my first priority, especially the youth. I've always been involved with the youth, and that's my first target, for them to strive and stay here in this town and protected and fight for this town. So that's it, and yeah, go to that dinner. Thank you, Bubba.
All right, since they got most of it, the next one is the father-daughter dance on February 11th from 6 to 9 at the Women's Club. They're selling tickets right now. I believe it's $25 for father and daughter, and then each additional child will be $5 per child. And they have the tickets. You can get a hold of anyone at the Women's Club, and they'll be able to get you your tickets. It's February 11th, Saturday, February 11th, from 6 to 9 at the Women's Club here in Coalinga. Okay, next we'll move on to future agenda items. Council?
I think we have for cheerleaders.
Yes, so I have that listed as a future agenda item that you requested already, but I reached out to the cheer coach and haven't heard back yet. So as soon as I do, I'll add it to the agenda.
All right, that's.
Just real quick, there was a fourth team. They had reached out. They said there's a fourth team they would like to recognize as well. They didn't win the championship, but they would at least like to try to be recognized as well.
So his agenda item actually is to recognize the entire group. So I think the main coach was going to coordinate bringing every group for the award that night.
Anything else? Yeah, go ahead, Councilman. Okay.
I would like a future agenda item to address hotels' distance from residential and schools. Yep. We had fireworks at the Planning Commission, so we may as well just address that.
Can I make a suggestion on that? Is throw in, depending on if we end up doing any cottage stuff in the future, possibly adding that into it too, so we have a distance, just depending on the element that stays in the house?
Sure.
You have anything, Councilman Hitchcock?
No.
Okay, at this time, we're going to adjourn the meeting until February 16th, 2023. That'll be our next meeting. Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
We do have 4 closed session items that will be.
Yes. Let me back up a minute, sorry. We have 4 agenda items that we need to discuss in closed session. So, okay. Thank you.